All right, what's up, Alabama fans? We are back live with Alabama commitment signee Tyler Booker, IMG Academy offensive lineman. Tyler, man, how you feeling today?
I feel great. Just glad to be able to be signed, and my dream has really come true. Now it's time to put in the work in January. But yeah, man, I feel great.
What's this day mean to you? I mean, I'm sure growing up, being a football player, then going through that whole recruiting process, knowing that you're going to sign your letter of intent. The day is finally here. What does this mean for you and your family?
It means so much, you know. It means a lot because my dad is not just a football fan; he's a football fanatic. So growing up watching all the other players sign on ESPN, that would be an event. So I remember some days, some signing days, I'll be home like right before I go off to school, or there was a delay for school because it's right around winter time where it snows a lot. My dad and I will just watch the signing day, and my dad will be like, "That's gonna be you one day. That's gonna be you one day picking one of those hats." I'm not gonna be picking a hat per se, but I'll sign to the school of my dreams, and that's just because of their constant belief in me, how they've always made sure I had everything that I needed, and just how they raised me. And when I mean they, I'm talking about my parents. So it's just a dream come true.
So you're going to Alabama, where it's a melting pot of people from all across the country, and
It
you
is.
even have some Canadians on the team. And you're coming down from Connecticut, right?
Yes, sir. New
All
Haven,
right.
Connecticut.
Tell everybody where exactly you're from, how you ended up at IMG Academy.
So I'm originally from New Haven, Connecticut. Um, Tried to go and find the best football in my area my freshman year, so I ended up playing football at Bergen Catholic in New Jersey. So I spent a majority of my freshman year. I went to an all-star game in Florida, and one of the coaches knew the defensive coordinator at IMG. So I went for a camp. Everything went great. The coaches loved me on both sides of the ball, and that's how I ended up at IMG. The camp was in February, ended up at IMG in April. So the whole thing moved really fast. I was kind of nervous about it, but I knew I was going into a realm where I'm going to be forced to grow. And when I said forced to grow, I mean in a good way. And I'll be around like-minded individuals who want to be great, and I'll be surrounded by greatness. And when it came down to making the decision to come to Alabama, I really felt the same way. It was not so much a case of the unknowns. It's somewhere where I'm going to have to work, somewhere where a lot is going to be expected of me. But I embrace the pressure because pressure makes diamonds.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I remember there's another IMG Academy lineman that you played alongside with. That when he got down to IMG, he was a defensive lineman, and then he ends up moving over to the O line. Did you want to play defense? Did it matter to you? Did you want to play offense?
So JC and I, we both came in as defensive tackles, and had my heart set on defense. I have been fighting it my whole life. Ironically, shout out to Coach Stengel. Coach Stengel was my offensive line coach at Bergen Catholic, and he thought I was leaving Bergen because I wasn't going to play defensive line at IMG, but that wasn't the case. The last thing he said to me in his office, he said, "I don't care what that coach at IMG says. You're going to play offensive line in college." And I didn't pay him any mind. I thought he was just trying to get in my head before I left, but I guess fate has a funny way of working itself out. So I went down to IMG as a defensive lineman. Started off slow my first week, but once I picked up on the groove of things, I really started to dominate on the defensive side of the ball during spring ball. And that's when I got a majority of my offers. But a few injuries came around, so JC and I both switched over at the same time, and that's why we're so close. Switched over to offensive line at the same time. And yeah, so as soon as that season was over, that was my sophomore season. I tried to switch back to the defensive line, but that's when COVID hit. So I
Wow.
still did defensive line workouts, but as the rankings came out and I started started talking to college coaches more often, they said that they see me more as an offensive lineman. So I just said, let me try it out this season. Well, not so much let me try it out. Let me commit to offensive line this season.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Well, good deal. Well,
And here we are today.
yeah. I mean, you certainly turned into one of the best offensive linemen in the country, and you're going to be playing alongside JC once you get to Tuscaloosa here in a few weeks, man. Um,
Yes, sir.
what all has JC told you about Alabama and just the process, what it takes to play there, and everything that he's gone through this his freshman year?
He told me he told me it's IMG times 100 or times 10, one of the two. But he told me that being IMG for as long as I have been will prepare me for what I'll go through in January, because it has prepared him for what he's going through now, what he's been through this past off season, spring ball and all. So he just told me it's going to be a grind. It's not easy, but what you'll get out of it will pay off tremendously.
Yeah, I knew who you were back in back in the spring, and then in the summer you set up your official visit, and all the talk was about Georgia and Florida with you for a while, and you've told me that those were kind of your top two schools for a good bit of time. Then you took that official visit to Alabama, and I remember I reached out to you. I had a conversation with you on the phone. It was our first interview. I left the conversation thinking, man, this guy sounds like he's going to Alabama. I mean, I know Florida and Georgia have been the leaders for him, and everybody's predicting him to go to one of those schools. But man, he just sounds like an Alabama guy. You told me that iron sharpens iron. Why not go to Alabama? And after that conversation, I just felt like you were all Alabama. Was that kind of the case after the official visit?
Yeah, 100%. As soon as the visit began to wrap up and when the last speaker spoke, my mom came up to me, and this is what actually put everything in perspective. She was like, her exact words, "You're at the pinnacle of football right now at IMG. Why go elsewhere where you'll try to chase the pinnacle, where you can come here and be the pinnacle of college football as well?" So that's where it came to me, where I processed that as, why should I try to chase the standard when I can be the standard? So that's what it really came down to. And ironically, I don't know if I've ever told this or said this on camera. I didn't really want to take an official visit to Alabama at first. But talking to Don Zalati, my guy at IMG, talking to Coach Hageman, another one of my mentors at IMG, and my parents, they're like, "You've got to visit Bama." And I'm like, "Okay, I guess I'll check it out." And then it turns out that Bama is the place for me.
I'd always heard, and last year there was, the COVID year where a lot of kids didn't get a chance to take official visits. So a lot of kids didn't get a chance to go to Alabama, see everything that they got, especially all the new facilities and the sports science building and all that good stuff that they have. I feel like I always heard Bama felt like if they could have gotten a couple of the guys on campus who went elsewhere last year, maybe those guys would have had a different, it would have signed with the Crimson Tide. What was it about Alabama? When you went there, obviously you talk about the pinnacle of college football, but what was it about like the facilities and that good stuff? Everywhere has good facilities. You know that. You've been on a lot of good trips, but was there anything in particular that stood out to you about Alabama?
Like you said, the facilities are great, but the thing that's even better than the facilities are the people in them. So that's what I really fell in love with about Alabama. From the people in recruiting to the nutrition staff, strength and conditioning, to the academic staff. There was so much structure and so much of a commitment to excellence, to where if you fail at Alabama, you want to, because there's so much support. And I've seen that firsthand at IMG. If you have a great support staff and you pour in everything that they pour into you, you'll be more than fine. You'll be great. So I just see how everything is set up like IMG, but like JC said, IMG times 100. So even more support, even more care, even more trainers, even more nutritionists.
Absolutely. You had a chance to spend some time in Tuscaloosa this football season, go to a couple games. I know you're excited to get your dad down to one of the games as well. What was it like just being in Tuscaloosa, full stadiums once again, and just being, just kind of in that atmosphere and just seeing everything and seeing all the fans and just being a recruit down there on the field. I'm sure fans were hollering your name and trying to get autographs with you and stuff like that. What was that experience like going back up to Tuscaloosa, not for official, but for just the game day atmosphere?
Yeah, it was surreal. And actually, my dad came with me on two of those games. My dad came to the Ole Miss game and he came to the Tennessee game. Yeah, he came to the Ole Miss and Tennessee game. So just being able to share that experience with him was surreal. You know, seeing all those people there ready coming to see college football game. I think I've been to a few college football games, but I don't think I've ever. No, I've been to an SEC game before, but it really didn't compare to what Brian Denny was like. There were just so many people. I think when I went to the Tennessee game, that's when I was like, oh my gosh, because that was homecoming. Like I've never seen that many people gather together for one game, and it was just a regular season game. I mean, I know Tennessee's a rivalry game, and that was homecoming, but still, that was a lot of people there, and just I love how the whole town of Tuscaloosa comes out. Right? They're not at the game; they're tailgating, they're supporting in some way, and that's something that I missed out on in my high school career. Um, I went to Bergen Catholic for my freshman year, and that was great. That was amazing being there. That was the kind of atmosphere, the fanfare that I love, fanfare that I fed off of. And then going to IMG, where everybody is all over the country, you don't have that many fans. You don't have people in the stands screaming your name. You don't have people making banners as you would at a regular high school. But I feel like I'll get what I was looking for in a high school experience, and then some being in Tuscaloosa, just because of the constant support and the constant love from the fans.
You had an opportunity to spend some time with Coach Saban and Doug Marrone, Alabama's offensive line coach, last week. They came down and saw you. How was the visit with those guys? And you know, as you're used to going up there and seeing them. Now they came down and saw you. What was that experience like? And you know, what all did they have to say to you?
Yeah, it was great. So I'll tell this story. So all the coaches that come visit players at IMG, they meet in the field house, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when Coach Seaman came, we have a on-campus hotel called the Legacy Hotel. So he actually went in one of the executive offices in the Legacy Hotel. So that was pretty cool, just to see that everybody understands who Coach Saban is and the weight that his name holds, not just in Tuscaloosa but everywhere, even in Bradenton, Florida. He gets recognition. But the actual talk with him went really well. Something that he continued to reiterate to me, that is that there's a lot of opportunity. You know, he let me know that the offensive line, there's a few spots that will be open, so to say, the next coming season. So there's just up for me to take advantage of the opportunities presented to me. Coach Marrone, he and I just have a great bond. Us both being from the Northeast and going down south to be a part of football, that's real special. So we always have great talks whenever we get together. He was just talking to me about the Georgia game and how they really came together, how everybody was really focused, and how that ended up being their best game of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. What does Alabama kind of see in you here in the future? I mean, have they talked to you about, you know, position-wise, or is it up to you? Do you see yourself in a certain position? You know, what do you want to do?
Well, they see me as a tackle, but something I'm big on is the best ability is availability. So I let them know time at the time that I can play guard. I'll learn how to snap if they need me to, but they really want me to prepare at right tackle or left tackle, either of the tackle positions, because that's one of their not so strong points, position wise this year. And I feel like that's a role that I can fill immediately, you know. I've just been working my butt off, training almost every day to earn that spot in January and be a starter in next August.
Tell Alabama fans what they are getting in Tyler Booker.
Alabama fans, you're getting a leader, you're getting a motivator, you're getting somebody who's mentally flexible. And what I mean by that, there's not really an environment that can shake me. So I'm used to change. I'm going to come in being a super hard worker. I'm going to push my teammates every day. And I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, and roll tide.
Well, good deal, man. Well, let me ask you one more question before we let you go.
Yes, sir.
You guys have one of the best recruiting classes in the country. It seems like a lot of you guys are close. I know you have a group text with each other, and y'all are chatting every day. I know y'all been trying to recruit different guys throughout the whole season too. And I know you've been a pretty big recruiter when you've been on campus and talked to a lot of guys. But just talk about your class, man, and the bond that you have with those guys, coming in.
Man, it's special. And the reason why I say it's special, everybody has that same mindset. Like nobody's above the program. Everybody's willing to come in and work, earn their spot, and we all really get along. We're just a brotherhood, and I can't wait till we actually get on campus to grow closer. And this is how you really win championships, and that's what Coach Saban has done year after year, bringing great classes who are compatible with one another, and really just build them and have them win multiple national championships. And I'm still recruiting guys. We're feminists before I actually signed, before signing that. So I'm still recruiting guys currently. Two of my IMG boys, Dalen and Jahad. So we'll see them on Wednesday. I hope we got something in store for them. Been recruiting Damani pretty hard, Marvin Jones, Earl Little. I just want to add to this class so we can continue the legacy of having great Alabama classes and continue this national championship legacy for every class.
All right. Hey, and one more question. Our final question of the night. What do you think about Alabama in the college football playoff?
Oh, we're going to win it all. We're going to win it all. I don't see anybody really stopping us. I feel like something that we could work on next year is playing to our level rather than playing down to everybody else's level. You know, like we just got to come out fast. Like that Georgia game, we came out fast. We came out swinging. So I feel like once now we know how to truly dominate and play Alabama football. So once we continue to do that against Cincinnati and then against Michigan or Georgia, whoever wins that game will come out victorious another year and go back to back. And then when I get there my freshman year, we'll three-peat.
Hey, Alabama fans love to hear that. Hey, the IMG Academy pipeline to Tuscaloosa remains wide open, and that is Tyler Booker. We're happy to have Tyler on our show today. Our national signing day. Well, I call it National Signing Day. It's the early signing period, but heck, everybody signs early these days. So, Tyler, thanks for joining us tonight,
thank you.
And we'll certainly look forward to seeing you here in Tuscaloosa, man.
Yes, sir. Likewise. Y'all have a good one.
All right. Hey, stay on for a second.
Okay.